Hello everyone, this is Julian Marin, your teacher, and today we're going to be reviewing Martes de Prueba number 3 for 8th grade, the year 2025 for Instituto Chipre in Manizales. So right here, we're going to start presenting. Remember that the first thing we need to identify is the type of exercise that we're going to be doing, right? As I mentioned, this is Martes de Prueba 3 for 8th. Now, over here to the left, we got the instructions, and then also we can see what type of exercise we're going to solve. Over here we have a text, and to the right we have the 4 questions associated with it. So the instructions said that according to the information that is right here, we should answer these questions. Now, this is a reading comprehension activity, or even better, a critical reading exercise. So what's the difference? Reading comprehension, yes, of course, is what you understand. But when we involve critical reading, that means we need to be conscious that the point is to focus on the information that is given, not what we think could be logically. Like, or for instance, we have 3 options. One of them seems to be a logic answer. But if that option doesn't focus on the information that is given, probably is not the correct. We better stick to the information that is given. So I'm going to enhance a little bit here so we can start reading together. So in 1812, a 3-year-old boy was playing in his father's leather workshop when he had an accident that would change the world. Louis Braille accidentally poked himself in the eye with an awl. The metal point blinded one eye, and an infection soon left him totally blind. Louis won a scholarship to a school for the blind in Paris. It was not a nice place. Students were often fed bread and water and locked up for punishment. There, Louis and the other blind children were taught to read. At that time, books for the blind weighed 100 pounds. One day, a soldier visited the school and talked about a code system that he invented in the French army. It used raised dots and dashes on a piece of paper to allow soldiers to send messages in the dark while remaining silent. The children found the system too confusing, but the basic idea stuck in Louis' head. He began experimenting with different ways of creating a language using raised dots on paper. One day, Louis picked up a pair of dice and felt the 6 dots on one side. That's when inspiration struck him. He soon developed a code for each letter of the alphabet, all using no more than 6 dots. One great advantage of his system was that you could read each letter. With practice, a reader would run his finger along a line and read very quickly. It took many years for the Braille system to take off, and its popularity was still spreading when Louis died in 1852. So there you have the text. That is the information we should focus. Now, some people, people develop different strategies, personal and also following the recommendations of the standardized test trainers. Both are possible, right? Some decide to read the questions before reading the text. That is a good strategy because if you happen to be very focused, probably you will start identifying the information along the reading of the text. In my case, I prefer to read it first, then check the questions, the possible answers, and if it is necessary, going back to the text, remembering in which paragraph the potential answer or information. So I'm going to leave it at this size so we can visualize the questions and also we can point at the information that would be useful for answering. So let's see. Question 21. Why did Louis Braille get completely blind if he hurt only one of his eyes? Okay, so they mentioned that in this second paragraph, right here. So let's see. Option A, because the injury was so deep that finally infected the other eye. Say, okay, so that one seems to be logical, but still we need to evaluate the other two options. B, because as a consequence of the accident, his healthy eye got infected. So notice here they mentioned the infection, right? So these two seem like good options, but let's evaluate C. Because they all damaged the right eye and later affected the left eye. Okay, so let's see over here. Over here is where they mentioned the so the metal point blinded him in one eye, and an infection soon left him totally blind. Okay, so here is where we can find the information. Okay, so notice that in option C, they mention right and left. This is not mentioned in the text. Now, yes, you may say, oh, but they mentioned left right here. Yes, but that is not the left and right hand. So that is a distraction. So you better pay attention to that. So we could cancel C. Now, the correct answer would be between A and B. So what is the difference? Over here, they mentioned the depth of the injury. And over here in the text, they don't mention. They just say because he became totally blind as a consequence. So that is where you should apply your critical reading. Identifying which information uh, is not mentioned in the original text. So you could identify, in this case, first you identify the two answers that could not be correct. So the correct one is left clearly beside. Okay, so the correct answer will be B. Now let's move to question number 22. How old was Louis Braille when he got completely blind? Oh, so over here, that information is given right here. They mention dates when they point out the accident. So in 1812, he was 3 years old, and he had an accident. Then they describe the accident right here. He poked an eye. Then the infection led for him to be totally blind. Then they start talking about his status, talking about his scholarship. So, how old was Louis when he got completely blind? So we need to stick to the information that is given. Not guessing, not anticipating, not speculating. Option A, he was 3 years old. B, he was just a newborn. And C, it happened in 1812. Okay? First, the question is, how old was him? So, we can cancel C. Why? Because in C, they're giving us the year, not answering how old was he. So this is a distraction. And then we got two options. A, he was 3 years old. This would answer the question. How old? That would answer the question. And he was just a newborn. Also would answer the question. But it is clearly here the the accident happened when he was 3. So B also will be cancer. So the correct answer will be A. Let's move to question 23. In Louis Braille's time, reading books for the blind were, we got 3 options: full color, too heavy, or very boring. So there is a part over here where they mention or they describe the books at the time. At that time, it says literally, at that time, books for the blind weighed 100 pounds. So when you talk about weight and pounds, we're talking about how heavy an object is. So directly, the correct answer will be B. But anyway, let's see options A. Full color, they don't mention the color. Very boring, they don't mention if they were entertaining or or, or boring. So the correct answer will be B. And 24. Which of the following people played an important role in Louis' invention? Okay, so his father, A, B, blind kids, or C, the soldier. And over here, when they mention, yes, they mention right here, one day a soldier visited, and as you can see, it is from there that he got the idea that later he developed with the system. Okay, so definitely the correct answer will be the soldier. C. Okay, so with that, right here, with that, we'll be finishing with this part of the exercise, and then we move to the second part, which has only one question, but still we need to solve. Okay, let's see. Here to the right, you can see that we have question 25. So here, this section has an instruction of its own, which means it's not connected to the previous exercise. So over here, we need to first read the instruction and then evaluate the possible answers. So for question 25, answer accordingly the sign that we have. So we have one sign. And the question is, where would you, right here is the question, where would you find this sign? So in what kind of a context or place would you find this sign? So the sign is don't spit. Spit is when you throw fluids out of your mouth. So in a bathroom, so that is a regular place where you go, you brush your teeth, or if you have to clear your throat. So that would be like a context in which it's appropriate to do it, a bathroom. B, on the street. So over here, the context says that it's not nice, and in some places it's not legal, right? In the world, especially in the developed countries, it's not legal to spit on the street. It is offensive. It is against, let's say, manners and also sanity. So B is a good prospect. And C, in a dental office. Okay, if you go to a dental office, of course you're gonna have to speak. So usually they give you a mouthwash, and constantly you're gonna have to be speaking. So we cancel A, we cancel B, sorry, C, and then we are left with option B, on a street. This is more probable. Okay, so with this, we're finishing today's review. I thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like the video, to subscribe to the channel, and to promote so other people can benefit from these reflections and these reviews. Thank you very much. See you in another time.